What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about motivational quality and what is high quality motivation. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff. Don't be overwhelmed, and it's a little bit small, but there's a lot of stuff. I had to fit it in there. So here we have a bunch of different levels of motivation. Now, don't be overwhelmed, okay? On the left is lower qualities of motivation, and on the right is higher qualities of motivation. And there's a sort of sequential progression to these types of motivation. And this video is going to be extremely important for anyone who really wants to be productive in their life, who wants to really learn a lot of things. You want deep learning. You want to be creative. You want to feel good. You want to do things in your life from a healthy place rather than a more unhealthy place. Now I'm going to start explaining what this mess is on the board. Don't get overwhelmed. We're going to start slowly, okay? We're going to start all the way on the left. Okay, right here, just right here. Only focus on this. A motivation. This is the lowest, most unhealthy form of motivation. This is basically what I feel every single day of my life. Is just going through the motions. It's a total wreck. No, I'm just kidding. So A motivation is pretty simple. It's dull, kind of lethargic, uninspired, just going through the motions, doing things, and I don't want to do it. It's kind of like that. So going through the motions might involve, think of a chore or something you don't like. Maybe doing the laundry, You're like, I don't want to do the laundry. I don't want to unload. I don't want to fold my clothes. I'm just going through the motions, folding my clothes. I'm sick of this. Or maybe people at a job they don't like. That is another good example of going through the motions. That was my first thing I actually thought of. That one is probably one of the biggest. People who just work a job they don't like, they don't feel motivated to do it. I've been there. And there's just no reason to do the work, it seems to them. There's just nothing satisfactory about it. So yeah, just going through the motions. Now, we're moving on to right here. This says external pressure. This is a step up from A motivation. External pressure is a little bit better. It's a little bit better than just going through the motions. This involves rewards, just making money. I'm doing my job just to make some money. Punishment, like a child behaving in school because he's scared and doesn't want to get punished by his teacher or his parents. And pressure from others, basically doing things because other people tell you to. That's basically that one, or doing things because you think other people think that you should as well. That's another one. Basically, anything that comes from external pressure. And I just want to make something very clear right now, is that in a lot of our major decisions in life, and even a lot of the, basically even minor things, there's a little bit of everything here. There's a little bit of everything in even going to the gym. I'm gonna explain that towards the end of the video. I'm gonna get more practical. For now, I want you to get this model because it's important. Now, internal pressure, which is a little bit better. It's a bit better than external pressure. So now we have you're doing things out of your own guilt, out of your own shame, out of self-pressure and ego involvement. So it's like if I don't go to the gym, I didn't go to the gym. I'm so lazy. And you just kind of feel ashamed of yourself. You're doing things out of just wanting to basically, in a sense, avoid that, or just out of that internal shame. Now moving on. You can see there's a black line here. Okay, there's a black line right here. This represents a divide between a lack of health and just being well and health. Basically, as we get to the lower end of the spectrum, it's more unhealthy. As we get here, it's healthy. And now, past this line, it's healthy. So what do we have here? We have personal value. That's what this says right here. Personal value. This means you value the work even if you don't like it. even if you don't like the work you're doing, you still find it meaningful. You still find it important. You still feel as though it's something that should get done because you value it. So that's better. That's a lot better than being motivated by someone yelling at you or by a bunch of guilt or shame or just going through the motions. I'd rather do this than any of that. Now, moving on. We have the best one. This is the one that ideally we should all strive for, is intrinsic. I just hit my hand here. We have intrinsic motivation. At here, work is play. Work is satisfying, and what we're doing is implicitly enjoyable. We find satisfaction just doing the thing that we're doing. And the thing that we're doing, of course, can matter, but to a person who lives most of their life right here, just doing the laundry is play. Just walking down the street is play. Just like these ordinary, mundane things that we think are just going through the motions become play. They become satisfying. They become implicitly enjoyable. Brushing your teeth. Oh, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm just going through the motions in the morning. But really, to a person here, they can be brushing their teeth. It's the same thing, but the underlying motivation is very different. So you can think of a little kid who brushes his teeth because he doesn't want to get punished by his parents at external pressure. And then you can think of someone who will tell them how stupid they are if they don't brush their teeth at internal pressure. And then personal value will be like, someone brushing their teeth and they don't really like it, they don't really want to do it, but it's important to do it anyway. And then here we have someone who, it's not like their life passion is brushing their teeth, but just brushing their teeth, just waking up, just walking to work, just filing a piece of paper is play. It's satisfying, it's implicitly enjoyable because their consciousness and their psychological development is actually higher than people at this end of the spectrum. Their vibration and their emotional state is higher than people down here. Now, obviously, the actual thing that we're doing matters. I'm not trying to say that the thing that we're doing doesn't matter at all. The thing that we're doing can be very draining and very unhealthy. But there's certain things that we have to do in life, like brush our teeth or do the laundry, that we don't have to actually do them as though we're just going through the motions. That's actually a sort of emotional issue within the person, as though you're just going through the motions. And people actually do the laundry as though they're playing. That it actually just feels implicitly enjoyable to just do the laundry. Other people do the laundry because you value clean clothes and it has to get done. I don't really like doing it, but I have to. Other people might do the laundry because they think they're stupid. They'll shame themselves and they'll feel guilty if they are too lazy to clean their clothes. And then other people have to get yelled at by other people to do the laundry. And then some people are just really low vibe, low energy, low emotions, doing the laundry, just going through the motions. So hopefully the reason why you do the laundry is at least here, at least here at personal value. But we each have a little bit of everything in almost everything that we do. Not so much this one. Usually people are around personal value and below. And a lot of what we're doing is coming from here. Let's say we're going to the gym. When we're actually going to the gym, we're not at the gym yet, we're going to the gym, what is the motivation? Is it just going through the motions, sitting in your car, dull? Driving to the gym, walking to the gym, you're dull? Are you scared about what other people will think of you? Is that what's motivating you to go to the gym? You want to appear, let's say, attractive in the eyes of other people. A lot of people go to the gym for that, of course. Everyone wants to look great and be attractive. That's a fantastic thing. But to have that as your top motivation for going to the gym is kind of silly. Do you go to the gym because you feel like you have to out of your own, guilt? Because you will just kind of shame yourself for not going to the gym? You'll think that you're just lazy? Do you go to the gym and you don't really like it, but you find it important to just go to the gym anyway? That doing this is an important thing, and I value it. Or when you go to the gym, is it play? Is just lifting the weights, going for the run, is it play? Does it genuinely feel like play? See, at here, work is play. In self-actualized people who are some of the most psychologically healthy and psychologically advanced people, the distinction between work and play actually begins to break down. So doing work in their life becomes playful. It becomes fun. They find life, just living life, inherently satisfactory, implicitly enjoyable. That's just how they are living, because they've done so much work on themselves, so much personal growth, psychotherapy, say meditation, reading the right books, doing, having satisfying and healthy relationships to help them grow, etc. Getting their needs met. So this is the lower unhealthy end. On the left side of the black line is the lower and unhealthy end. Amotivation, external pressure, and internal pressure. On the right side are the more healthy stuff like personal value and intrinsic motivation. So let's look at some of the qualities of unhealthier motivation. So there's lower productivity. And a lot of how we actually do things, like get children to behave in school, for example, which is external pressure and internal pressure, a lot of that really doesn't work too well. It just doesn't. We just know that the human psyche just really, this isn't the healthiest thing, the most motivating thing for a person. A lot of how we motivate ourselves and the people around us are this. It's this stuff. It's really not much of this. So there's lower productivity associated with it, lower creativity. There's less learning, which is a massive problem for school. There's less satisfaction. There's less commitment to values. There's less trust, and it's more forceful. So a good example of forceful is all of them really. But I'll give you examples for each of them. Like amotivation, going through the motions and you're kind of upset. You're kind of imposing yourself onto the present moment. There's a sense of tension in your body, a lack of general ease with what is presently happening, and you're kind of fed up with what's happening. Like doing the laundry in a sort of pissed off way. It could be a pretty good example of that. External pressure would be someone manipulating you, screaming at you to do something. Internal pressure is you basically attacking yourself, guilting and shaming yourself. You're manipulating yourself into doing something. You're forcing yourself to do something. Force and manipulation, I kind of use them interchangeably, synonymously. So these are all more forceful. Now, let's go over here. This is the healthy stuff. This is really what we want, if we want to feel good, at least. So the higher motivational quality, stronger performance, more motivation, deeper learning, there's greater satisfaction, there's more commitment to values, more loyalty and trust, and it's authentic and natural. So I'll explain each one of these. But first, let me go right back here, the lower motivational quality. So low productivity, it's more lethargic, it's more lazy, it's more uninspired. You don't really want to do the thing. You're kind of just forced to do it. And because of that, you're not creative. You're not really learning anything. You're just doing it because you feel like you have to. You're not satisfied. You're not committed to your values, to high quality values. You're not, there's not a lot of trust in these environments that are even ran like this. People are very forceful towards one another. They're very angry, very bitter. They don't really care too much. So yeah, there's not too much trust from the people that are engaged in this kind of stuff. It's more unhealthy. There's more deception involved, more manipulation. It's more forceful. Yeah, I'm going to move on to the higher quality now. Higher quality motivation. Stronger performance. So You do it because you just find it important, or you're just it's just implicitly enjoyable. So, those are the two. But this kind of stuff leads to stronger performance, more motivation, deeper learning, and it's all pretty important. Greater satisfaction, commitment to values, loyalty, and trust, and it's authentic and natural. So what does this stuff actually mean? When you do something because you genuinely enjoy it, your performance is going to skyrocket. Because you actually want to be there and you want to be there doing the thing that you're doing. You actually feel as though it's important, as though it's meaningful. You actually find it meaningful. And it feels healthy. There's a subjective sense of well-being when you're actually doing these things. You're actually engaged in what you're doing. You're not dull like this. This is very dull and very, distracted and kind of maybe lethargic and kind of, unmotivated, really, of course. It's lower quality motivation. In this, you're engaged in what you're doing, so you actually pick up more information from what you're doing. You actually learn maybe the skill or the idea even more. And all of this basically leads to a significantly healthier and happier life, really. It's a very important one. It's authentic and natural. What you're doing is not because you want to just make money, although that can be there. You can do something that's authentic and natural and make money, but the thing that you're doing is natural to you. It's something you genuinely love. There's a lot of loyalty and trust here. People who spend more of their life on this side of the spectrum are not very forceful and manipulative towards one another. They're not imposing themselves on one another, but they're more caring towards one another. It's a difficult thing to describe, but they don't care about forcing someone to behave in a very specific way. That doesn't matter to them. They don't want to control the people to do a specific thing so that they can feel good, which is what you find a lot of on this end of the spectrum. People over here, simply living is implicitly enjoyable. Now, people here also committed to higher quality values, maybe self-actualization or increasing consciousness or love. Those are more really towards this end of the spectrum. Some of the values on this end of the spectrum might be just money or just getting work done. We just got to get it done. It's more about survival on this end of the spectrum. It's more about control, manipulation, survival, doing things out of fear, anger, shame, guilt. Out of here, or in here, in this area, it's more about doing things out of a sense of love and joy and peace and well-being and courage and acceptance and neutrality. Now, most people don't know what this is. Most people really don't know what intrinsic motivation is. This is the rarest one of all of them. A lot of people are very familiar with going through the motions. It's a bit much. People are very familiar with external pressure. People are very familiar with internal pressure. People are also very familiar with personal value. But intrinsic is really rare. Most of the things we do, we don't do them because they're implicitly enjoyable to us. We do them for a lot of other reasons. And I'm going to get a little bit more practical now. I'm going to list some things that we might do. I'll go back to the going to the gym example. When we go to the gym, maybe we have some moments of going through the motions. Maybe we have some external pressure. We want to feel validated by other people. Maybe we have some internal pressure as well. We feel guilty if we don't go to the gym, so we shame ourselves. Maybe we also find it important to go to the gym. So right now, these are a lot of different motivations just for going to the gym that everyone can have a little bit of. Usually in our actions, we have a lot of underlying motivations and intentions. For something like going to the gym, we can have like 5 to 10 different intentions on why we're doing it. So we can also go to the gym, of course, because we value it. We find it important. We might not enjoy it. It might not feel that good to us. But we do find it important to exercise. And here, of course, the whole thing is like play, which is just unusual for people. This is just it's strange. It's just strange. Like, people don't find this like in their everyday life. It's just not really the case. Going to the gym is play. Lifting the weights is play. Lifting the weights are satisfying, but in a way that is not, there's not suffering. There's not a tone of suffering going on, where it's not like I'm lifting the weights and this feeling, if you guys have ever lifted weights or ran, and this feeling in my body is like difficult and I have to bear it and it's hard. It's more like this feeling can be here and it's okay and it's fun. And I actually allow it to be here and I'm just genuinely enjoying what's happening, regardless of what's happening. What is happening is just enjoyable no matter what, because I have such high emotional intelligence. I have such high motivational quality. My level of motivation is so high. And that doesn't come naturally. This is something that has to be worked on. This is associated with self-actualization, people who are self-actualized. Now, of course, we are all very familiar with this. Let's talk about how to get higher quality motivation. Now, how do you actually get to this level? Because we all want that. We want to feel good. Now, one of the hardest things to do is to become aware of all of this. This is kind of like all the crap in the closet that we don't really want to look at for why we're doing things. So we have to become more aware of our shadow and our unconscious mind, our unconscious aspects, and just notice why we're doing the things that we're actually doing. And be really honest about it. Check out my playlist on honesty and basically my video, Self-Honesty for Clarity. But we have to become aware of why we're doing this, and we have to become aware that this exists inside of us, and we can't just ignore this and jump straight to here. So we actually have to work through our fear of, basically not being accepted by others. That fuels external pressure. We have to investigate our boredom and our frustration. We have to investigate our guilt and our shame and our self-pressure. We have to actually investigate that, feel it, maybe read some books about it, maybe actually meditate and look at it, feel our body, feel how tense we are, feel the emotions that are controlling that tension, feel the emotions that are driving you to do a certain thing. Like why you feel as though you should go to the gym. Feel what is driving that behavior. What emotion? Get into your body. Bring your awareness into your body and feel the actual physical sensations and really notice what is driving the behavior and be honest about it. And if you're doing this very well, you'll find that there's quite a lot of stuff going on there. What is driving it? At first, you might find 1 or 2 things, but as you do this more and more, you find maybe 10 reasons why you're going to the gym that can fall into one of these neatly organized 5 categories. So we need to become more self-aware, more conscious, and more emotionally intelligent. This book right here can help you with that. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. So I also recommend yoga. Yoga, like stretch your body. Like stretch your body. That's pretty important. Because other than, your body is just kind of rigid and stiff if you don't stretch it. So meditation, increasing emotional intelligence, yoga, and stretching your body, it's all very important. Eating well, of course, can bring you up to this side of the spectrum. And really, honesty is key in all of this. In every one of my videos and for the rest of my work that I publish throughout the rest of my life, honesty is going to be key in all of it, because without honesty, we can just bypass a lot of this stuff and fool ourselves and not be clear. So there's a lot of good books you can actually get your hands on that deal with motivation. And it's important to realize that this is possible. That this is possible for you. That it's not like some guy who's so hyper, just some genius can do this. And this is possible for you. Just actually realizing that and knowing that, at least having a little bit of faith in that, is important. That it's possible for you to find doing the laundry implicitly enjoyable. This is like you can feel pleasure doing the laundry and feel very satisfied in life just doing the laundry. Going to the gym, cooking dinner, eating a little bit of food, going for a walk. None of this is extremely exciting, but that it's possible to actually feel pleasure throughout your body and mind as you're doing these things. So to sum up how to increase your motivational quality, the number one thing is, of course, investigating your shadow, which I would recommend a fantastic book. It's called Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark by Robert Augustus Masters. You can find it on Amazon. Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark. Very important. It basically goes through fear, anger, shame, guilt, a lot of the things that drive a lot of our behavior. And, really our most unconscious and difficult emotions is what is doing that. So, of course, we have to investigate our actual emotions and why we're doing the things that we're doing and generate ideas about it, get clear about it, write it down, journal about it, but why you're even going to the gym, but why you even want to increase your motivational quality. Is it because you want to run away from this stuff? Or is it because you want to actually become more self-aware? So really, what's your motivation for even understanding motivation? Do you just hate this stuff and you want to get away from it and go to all the way over here? Or are you actually interested in investigating all this stuff inside of yourself? Are you actually curious about it? That brings up another good point, is actually get curious about all of this stuff. Be curious about this. Be curious about how to develop high quality motivation in your life. Because if you don't get curious about it, by default, you have lower quality motivation. I would also recommend another book that I can give to you guys. It's actually where I got this information from. Is this one right here, Transcend, The New Science of Self-Actualization by Scott Barry Kaufman. You can also find that on Amazon. Or ABE books. So meditation is extremely useful. Go on a meditation retreat. That'll be extremely powerful. Yoga, stretching, eating well, moving your body. Anything that really connects you to life. Creating art. All of that is very important. Connecting with other people. Connecting with people who are intelligent and smart and who you trust, feel safe around, and can open up to. Really, all of these things can increase your motivational quality. But really, the number one thing, the thing that if you don't have this, you'll fail, is really investigating your lowest emotions. guilt, shame, and fear. Basically forms of fear, anger, and sadness. That is absolutely huge. That is really one of the key things that you're going to have to really look at in order to increase your level of motivation. I kind of feel like a weather forecaster, like doing this. Unlike, you know, the Weather Channel, they have the whole thing behind them. But but I guess that's kind of it for this video. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know. So I've given you guys some resources. I've given you guys even some practices: meditation, eating well, stretch, yoga. Go for a run. Feel your body. Get in touch with your body. Develop honesty. Be honest about what you're feeling. Just say to yourself, oh, I'm feeling angry. Check out my video, Self-Honesty for Clarity. All of these things, over a period of time, will come together. They'll all fuse together to increase your psychological development, increase your consciousness, give you healthier and more pleasurable emotions on a more consistent basis, and increase your motivational quality. You have to want to increase your consciousness. You have to want to actually understand all of your feelings. You have to understand, you have to be curious about, what do the healthiest people look like? These questions have to really mean something to you. You have to be engaged in this sort of discovery process. So that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know. Other than that, take it easy.